Revenge films.
One day, when my fiancé was gone, his lover suddenly showed up at our apartment room. Of course, I had no clue about his affair, and I was shocked. "You have to break up with him. I'm pregnant with his child." She had a victorious smile on her face. She showed me their messages to try to prove that he loved her more. So, I took a screenshot as proof. She continued to insist that my fiancé loved her more than me. I've been dating Jack for 5 years, and we're both 30 years old. We were living together and had plans to get married. We had already even reserved a wedding hall. His girlfriend, Rose, knew that we were engaged and got pregnant anyways. She was 20 years old. She was 10 years younger than me and looked great. Rose continued to tell me everything that had happened between them without me having to ask. It was like listening to a thorough investigation report. According to Rose, she works part-time at Jack's office and fell in love with him at first sight. She decided to talk to him, and they gradually became closer until they became a couple. I could tell Rose thought she was better than me by the way she talked. "Jack's mine, old lady," she told me. She went on to insult my age and insisting that I was infertile because I was 30. I was just sitting and listening in silence, but honestly, I was pretty hurt inside. After going on like that for a while, she must have been satisfied. "Just break up with him already, alright?" And she laughed as she left the room. I messaged Jack immediately after she left. "Rose suddenly showed up. She's pregnant with your child. Please don't come home for a while." He called back immediately and messaged me with all kinds of excuses, but I ignored them and called our parents instead. A few days later, a crazy meeting was held. My parents, Jack's parents, and Rose's parents were all gathered. Upon everyone gathering, Jack started apologizing and saying that he didn't want to break up with me, and Rose looked pretty surprised. Rose's father was angry.
"You're being insensitive to our daughter!"
he said as Rose yelled, "Why are you apologizing to this old hag?" and was slapped by her father for saying that. Rose figured that she had the advantage of being young, and if she got pregnant, she could marry Jack. So I told her parents, "I'm sure you both understand that I demand consolation for your daughter cheating with my fiancé and the cancellation fees for a wedding." To which Rose argued, "What? Why do I have to pay compensation? It's your decision to cancel the wedding, not mine."
Just shut up, you idiot! I'm very sorry. Our daughter is just a child. She doesn't have a grip on reality yet. Of course she'll take responsibility. I'm so sorry for everything.
Rose continued to argue, "Why?" but got slapped by her father again and started crying. "Why me?" Rose continued to cry and say that she was going to have the child and get married to Jack, and that there was no way that Jack wanted to break up with her. Things started getting out of hand, with her parents scolding their selfish daughter. I had no intentions of getting married to Jack anymore, so I proposed to him. "Why don't you just keep the reservation and get married to her instead then?" To which Rose said, "Shut up, bitch. There's no way I'm wearing a wedding dress that you picked out," and was very mad. Jack glanced at Rose and said,
We got married, but Rose's parents hate me. My boss, who encouraged the wedding, had an affair with her as well.
To that, Rose started screaming and yelling. Rose's parents gave Jack a nasty look and calmed their daughter. I could understand where her parents were coming from. Their daughter was cheating with an engaged man who was 10 years older than her. Even though it might have been Rose's plan to get pregnant, they probably still felt deceived. Jack continued to apologize to me and tell me that he had no intention of marrying Rose, but neither I nor my parents would allow myself to get married to such a cheater. They expressed their disapproval, and we decided to call it a day. Jack contacted me many times after that, but I didn't change my mind. I did ask myself if there was any way that I could forgive him for cheating on me, but the answer was no. Rose was still a child and had no idea of what it meant to get married or take responsibility. She thought of it like any other relationships, like a winner-takes-all situation. She didn't understand the rules or the law. We were engaged, but it wasn't like we were married. After all, her parents explained to Rose about the laws of cheating with an engaged man. I ended up receiving consolation from both Rose and Jack. Jack was persuaded by his co-workers to get married to Rose, but they ended up getting divorced within a year. Until they got divorced, I was exchanging messages with Jack. He constantly asked for a second chance. I thought about blocking him, but instead decided to just send him nice messages wishing for their happiness. To my messages, Jack replied,
"We got married, but Rose's parents hate me. My boss, who encouraged our marriage, used to have an affair with her as well. Rose is a 3-timer!"
He told me all kinds of things. Jack wasn't into the idea of getting married to Rose in the first place, and as he expected, things weren't going so well. I continued to say nice things to Jack, and he would keep replying.
"Rose won't clean up after herself. I can't stand it. Her food is all pre-made. I miss your cooking. She's so hysterical. It's hard."
And all other kinds of complaints like that. Honestly, I was pissed that he cheated on me when we were engaged, and I was glad that they were having a hard time. But I also knew that if I continued to be nice to Jack, he would continue to want me back. Even after that crazy gathering, I remembered that he kept ignoring her and wanted to get married to me. So I kept acting like a saint, and then Rose had the child. I figured that Jack would stop messaging me after he had a child, but he continued to do so.
"I wanted to get married with you. I regret cheating on you. I want a second chance with you."
I ignore all of these kind of messages though. They finally got divorced, and Jack reached out to me.
"I got divorced with Rose. We can finally get back together. When can we meet? I want to see you now."
So I blocked his messages and told him through a mutual friend that I was getting married. I was getting married to one of his friends, but it wasn't like I dated him to get back at Jack. He convinced me for 6 months to date him and asked me to marry him after. After being cheated on after 5 years of dating, I realized that time had nothing to do with marriage. What matters most is that you love each other. I heard that Jack was pretty disappointed about the news.
"Wait, are you serious? I thought we were getting back together. On top of that, my friend?"
I was told that he crumbled to the ground and started crying. I can't believe he actually thought that he would get back with me after divorcing Rose. But I didn't break any rules, did I? It's not like we were engaged anymore, and I didn't break any laws or do anything mean. I didn't say anything bad about Rose after they got married. And I never told them to break up either. All I did was listen to Jack's complaints and replied like a saint. So, I'm sorry for Jack, but it's not my problem. I heard that after the meeting, my mother was crying in despair for me. So, I feel I owe this happiness to my parents as well.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.